the fact that for the first time, Mr. Modi seems to be acknowledging that India is facing a serious economic challenge. So far, the government has remained in denial. But you see, what is worrying about Mr. Modi's government and principally himself is the fact that they are extremely immoral when it comes to actually transparent politics. So the question that Mr. Modi needs to answer to the people of India, you see, this is the thing that we need to change in our narrative. Mr. Modi wants India to respond during COVID, during lockdowns, and now during a serious economic challenge without telling us what is he doing for the people of this country. He wants the people of this country to rise up and support the government without explaining that the people are worse off because of the government's policies. But let me tell you, this is the way authoritarian demagogues work all over the world. Pass the buck on to you and then make you feel you're doing this big sacrifice because of the country. Why is it done when the campaigning for the elections are over? When I can promise you that the maximum choppers, airlines, jeeps, cars, motorcycles, money has been spent by the BJP, which is the richest political party in India.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday urged citizens to follow a spate of measures to conserve energy as the peace negotiations between US and Iran didn't yield any result, with President Donald Trump refusing to blink. Now, the direct impact of the war in West Asia on the people of India is surging crude oil prices. Although India has not passed the rising cost of petrol and diesel on the consumers yet, the cost of commercial LPG cylinders have been hiked twice in the last 2 months. So what did the Prime Minister say? That's going to be very interesting. I'm going to quote him exactly what he said. He said, "It's time for us to use petrol, diesel and gas with great care." Then he said, "We must make efforts to use only as much as is needed to save foreign currency and reduce the adverse effects of the war." And then he goes on to say, he makes 7 appeals, the big 7 appeals made by Prime Minister. Now, this is resulting out of the failure of Prime Minister Modi's policies. What are the 7 appeals he makes? He says, point number 1, he says, prioritize work from home wherever possible. Then he goes on to say, avoid buying gold for 1 year. Don't buy gold. Even if you have a marriage, don't buy gold. That's what Prime Minister Modi says. Then he says, reduce petrol and diesel consumption, use metro or public transport. Next point, cut down the use of cooking oil. Avoid foreign travel for 1 year. Then he goes on to say, reduce dependence on chemical fertilizers and move towards the natural farming. Then the 7th appeal he makes is that use fewer foreign products and adopt Swadeshi. Now, these 7 appeals, many are saying they are bizarre. The 7 appeals made by Prime Minister Modi, are they bizarre? Do they make sense? Now, how is the government trying to explain these appeals? And the biggest reason which the government is giving out is that India's forex reserves are around 690.69 billion, according to the data which is compiled by Trading Economics. Now, RBI data shows reserves rising close to $728 billion in February before slipping back to around $691 billion in April as global uncertainty intensified. So the government says that save the forex reserves. Now, this is the explanation which the government is trying to give. Many would say that these austerity measures which Prime Minister Modi has appealed, would he stop flying? Would he stop going to the foreign destinations for his meetings? Would he direct his bureaucrats to be as austere as he wants the people of India to be? Will he direct his ministers not to go to the foreign destinations? And all the seven appeals he has made, is he going to refrain? Now, it's a similar kind of a situation what everyone saw during the COVID times, appealing, then Tali Bajao, all that seems to be coming back. So I'm going to talk on this subject today, and joining me this evening is Sanjay Jha, former Congress spokesperson, political commentator, and author, joins us this evening. Thank you so much, Sanjay. And Sanjay is basically a banker and he speaks a lot on economics as well. Thank you so much, Sanjay. And my first question to you is, how are these seven appeals made by Prime Minister? Do they make any sense?
Well, I can tell you one thing for a fact, that for the first time, Mr. Modi seems to be acknowledging that India is facing a serious economic challenge. So far, the government has remained in denial. But you see, what is worrying about Mr. Modi's government, and principally himself, is the fact that they are extremely immoral when it comes to actually transparent politics. Why did Mr. Modi have to wait for the end of the assembly election results to be able to talk about austerity measures? Go back, Nilu, to the fact that when the campaigning ended for the assembly elections in West Bengal, that's the time when the government announced an increase in the price of LPG commercial cylinders by rupees 993. And even in domestic LPG cylinders, the price went up. On bulk diesel, the price went up by rupees 149. So it clearly tells you that the government likes to practice what I call is a sleight of hand politics, keep the people in the dark, and suddenly spring a surprise on them. Now let's go back to what Mr. Modi has said today. Okay, he's telling people cut down on consumption, basically of oil and related commodities, and lead a life of austerity. Here is the fundamental point. The war has been on since February end, right? We all know that. Everybody knows that India, and the government should know that we are the third largest importer of petroleum products in the world. 60% of our LPG consumption is imported, and 90% of them comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So the question that Mr. Modi needs to answer to the people of India, you see, this is the thing that we need to change in our narrative. Mr. Modi wants India to respond during COVID, during lockdowns, and now during a serious economic challenge without telling us what is he doing for the people of this country. He wants the people of this country to rise up and support the government without explaining that the people are worse off because of the government's policies. Fundamental question that should not be ignored, Nilu. Why did Mr.
No,
Modi's
but when
government?
you say, Sanjay, but when you say that government's policy has failed miserably, but this is packaged as some kind of a patriotism, some kind of a
Oh, yeah.
deshbhakti, that look, this
Yeah.
is what is making the country stronger, and therefore all the citizens need to follow this. He's reminding the people of their duty now.
Yeah, but let me tell you, this is the way authoritarian demagogues work all over the world. Pass the buck on to you and then make you feel you're doing this big sacrifice because of the country. Everything is about inducing this feeling of nationalism. And therefore, if anybody questions Mr. Modi, Bhaiya, aap to deshdrohi ban gaye hain. By the time our program is over, people will be saying Nivlu Vyas is a anti-national. Sanjay Jha is a fifth columnist working with foreign conspirators to destabilize India. What can you do? This is the way this government works. Now, will Mr. Modi answer to the people of this country? Why did you side with Israel and America when you should have actually been either neutral or definitely been a lot more charitable towards Iran than you were? Because one of the reasons why India has suffered more than many other countries on account of the West Asia war is because Iran began to look at us with suspicion, although they have been more benevolent towards us than one had expected them to be. Here is the fundamental point. Can Mr. Modi's government tell the people of India what is your strategic LPG reserves? Basic question, right? Any country on reserves, just like how you and I will have a certain bank balance for the rainy day. What if tomorrow you can't access, you don't have a job, or there is some kind of a financial emergency? What is your cash balance? Do the people of India know, and can Mr. Modi's government tell us all, why is the strategic LPG reserves down to just 2 days of national consumption? Can you imagine that, Nilu? I mean, India doesn't have reserves for LPG at all. And one other question that comes up, why is it done when the campaigning for the elections are over? When I can promise you that the maximum choppers, airlines, jeeps, cars, motorcycles, money has been spent by the BJP, which is the
Absolutely.
richest political party in India. Mr.
But
Modi's
this
own travel.
Right. No, this point which you mentioned that he was waiting for the elections to get over. You remember during the budget session, Prime Minister Modi inside the House said that we should be prepared for a COVID-like situation. Now, what bigger proof does the country need to show that he already knew what was coming, but the government deliberately kept quiet for a few months. Once elections are over, now this seven appeals.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why he must be an extremely worried man on foreign exchange. Shall I tell you? Mr. Modi has stopped talking about the 5 trillion economy because he realizes that 5 trillion is in US dollars. And the US dollar rate is so bad that India is barely reaching 4 trillion. The 5 trillion you will not reach even by 2029-30. The way India is growing, impossible. Impossible. Therefore, now he's under panic. He's under panic because the foreign exchange rate is going against India. And tomorrow, if the RBI stops intervening in the foreign exchange market, the rupee will actually be even worse off. It will really be devaluing itself or depreciating at a much more rapid rate. So here is the problem. The problem for Mr. Modi at the moment is that he's seeing an economy which is flat. I can tell you that we'll be lucky if we reach grow at 6%, which is nothing for a country of our gigantic size. You look at the rupees at what, 95.24 against the dollar. Today, the stock market has reacted very negatively to Mr. Modi's cautionary advisory or whatever, because certain sectors are going to take a big hit. And here is the question that end of day, Mr. Modi's government has no real answers for how can you protect the common man. You see, any government should care for the common man. Now, he's telling people don't spend or be careful or be cautious. Here is a problem, and I'll tell you, Neely, this is what we should be worried about. The rural India, the rural demand is anyway struggling. You have 800 million people who are surviving on free food grains. You have roughly 300 million people living below the poverty line. Now they're going to get knocked off on account of recession. Their household balances are anyway crippling. Jobs have vanished. Jobs are not there anymore, no matter what spin the government does. So, end of day, Mr. Modi should realize your problem is not to tell people to spend less. Your challenge right now is to give money in the hands of people so that they
Absolutely.
can actually spend, so that India sees a boost in demand and therefore will be able to actually find investments which will increase opportunities for everybody in the demographic dividend story. But this government works only on one criteria: keep the deficit low, keep the foreign investors happy, because now the foreign investors are taking their money out of the country. Have you
Yeah.
seen the extent of money that has gone out of India? It's a record outflow from India. So you're witnessing a government in a serious crisis. So Mr. Modi has spun this off on nationalism, on patriotism, to make every Indian feel like you've got to help us through this crisis, without telling you and me that if anybody is responsible for the absence of jobs, for the slow investment, for the struggle in rural demand, for a GDP that is barely, over the last 7 years, has grown by 5.5%. End of day, if India's foreign exchange reserves are depleting, then the problem is on account of the failure of an incompetent government in the last 12 years.
And I'm reminded of Mr. Hardeep Puri, who just 2 months before, or rather 1.5 months, till about 1.5 months ago, he was saying there's no energy crisis. Now, was he living in oblivion, or Prime Minister Modi is now talking, which is just the opposite? We don't know. But do you think that these seven appeals are nothing but a new drama or a theatrics in the name of patriotism and Deshbhakti. Seven appeals are packaged as some kind of a new Deshbhakti.
Well, let me tell you, this government does not know the ABC of running a country's economy. On governance, I would rate Mr. Modi's government at 1 on 10, and I'm being extremely charitable. As far as the economy is concerned, I can tell you, you look at the key parameters, Nilo. GDP growth over the last 7 years has been 5.5%. 5.5%. The UPA's was 7.8%. And if you go by what Arvind Subramaniam said, was chief economic advisor to the Modi government, even this 5.5% looks like a higher number. It could be lower, which is why we always keep asking, where are the jobs? You see, if India really had a booming economy, we would be having jobs despite the threat of AI. Now, with AI becoming a serious challenge, you will see a massive disruption, even especially amongst the educated and the even the postgraduates in engineering or even arts and the humanities. So India is going to see a destruction of the demographic dividend story. Don't forget, Nilu, that even as we talk, India is not seeing the kind of investment that is needed to take the economy forward. What happened to that big manufacturing story? It's not happening. India is basically, even in the area of tech AI, you're talking about creating data centers. These are going to make India bleed in terms of its economic, shall we say, resources, because you will be taking away India's natural resources to just service the big tech
Absolutely.
giants in the United States. So I think the question that comes up is, Mr. Modi's government has relied extensively on a few big names to keep the Indian economy going. India is not South Korea. India is not Vietnam. India is not Philippines. It's a big country. We are the most populated country in the world. It can't rely on the Adani Ambani model. It needs multiple, even Tatas, etc. India needs multiple entrepreneurs. India needs truly unicorns that are established or startups that get a chance to succeed. In India, there is lip service given to them, and to a large extent, over dependence on the crony capitalists is hurting India's growth story. Take it from me, the Adani Ambani model is not the model to take India forward, which is why we are once again in a crisis. Mr.
Right.
Modi is making us feel like the scapegoat.
Absolutely. In fact, I want to put out Rahul Gandhi's tweet. What he has also
Sure.
written is very, very important, and then we'll talk about that as well. He says Modi ji demanded sacrifices from the public yesterday. Don't buy gold, don't go abroad, use less petrol, cut down on fertilizer and cooking oil, take the metro, work from home. These aren't sermons, these are proofs of failure. In 12 years, he's brought the country to such a pass that the public has to be told what to buy, what not to buy, where to go, where not to go. Every time they shift the responsibility onto the people so they can escape accountability themselves. Running the country is no longer within the reach of a compromised PM. That is what Rahul Gandhi has written. Sanjay, now I'm just wanting to discuss the flip side, what we can expect. Now, supposing if you, despite his appeal, if people continue to buy gold, if despite his appeal, people continue to consume more oil than the limit which he has given, that cut down 10% edible oil. What if the farmers continue to buy fertilizers? Now, what happens then? Are they going to be labeled as anti-national? Will there be an attack on them from groups like Bajrang Dal? I mean, is that a scenario where we look at?
Well, let me tell you, oil is an essential commodity. Oil is inelastic, right? So tomorrow, if the government increases the price of an LPG cylinder to 5,000 rupees, Nilu, will you start cooking on kerosene? You won't. Will you get firewood in the house? You won't, right? So these are commodities that, no matter what happens, you'll consume. You might consume less, but you
Yeah.
will have to consume it. And this is how government, and this is where I believe Mr. Modi's government has been unprincipled and unethical. I'll tell you why. Tell me, when the price of oil was very low, right? During Mr. Modi's tenure, barring during the Ukraine war, the price of oil was significantly less than during the time of Dr. Manmohan Singh's government. Did the common people of India get the benefit of the lower prices? No. You know what did Mr. Modi's government do? They kept taxing the common man. They made, and this is what I read Jairam's statement, Jairam Ramesh's statement, I don't know the exact number, but anywhere between 35 to 40 lakh crores in the last 11 to 12 years were made by Mr. Modi's government through excise duties and taxes ordinary people of India. The question that I want to ask on behalf of the ordinary people of India to Mr. Modi's government, वो पैसे गए कहाँ? ये जवाब में कहेंगे कि हमने इसको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में लगाया, तो भैया तो उसका भी तो फायदा आप ही उठाते हैं. आप बोलिए कि कॉमन मैन का पैसा है, वो तो आप बोलते हैं नहीं. You see, the common man should have got the benefit of lower oil prices. If supposing the common man had the benefit of lower oil prices of 40 lakh crore, that would have been demand, right? Because that would have been income in the hands of people, middle class in particular, and the others. They would have spent the money, and that would have got your economy into a better shape. We have no idea where that money has gone. No idea. They will tell you we spent it on capex, but we don't know.
No,
There
but
is no
Sanjay,
accountability.
no matter how much you and I discuss about these gray areas of how the policy has not worked at all, whatever Modi ji promised, but I'm sure the supporters of the government, they will say that, look, here is a prime minister who leads the nation through this crisis. He makes appeals and then he's leading the nation. Who's going
Well,
to
let me tell
believe
you.
what you and me are going to say or are saying?
Well. You see, our job is to question the government. We are not going to take this opaque government that lies through its teeth brazenly day in and night out. Come on, Mr. Modi's government increases the price of commodities after campaigning. I mean, can you imagine the chicanery, the sleight of hand, the dodginess of this government? I mean, I can tell you where Mr. Modi's government is coming from. They have now rigged the entire institutional process. So they believe they cannot be now defeated in an election. And they are there in perpetuity. They believe they will be there, as Mr. Amit Shah famously said, हम 50 साल के लिए यहाँ हैं. You see, this arrogance, ये जो मगरूर अहंकार जो आप देख रहे हैं नीरू जी, इस बात का एक दर्शाता है कि इनको लगता है कि इनको प्रश्न पूछेगा कौन, और पूछेगा तो ये जवाब भी देने के लिए तैयार है कौन. ये तो कहेंगे कि देखिए वेस्ट बंगाल में भी वन द इलेक्शन, असम में भी वन द इलेक्शन, हम तो इतने लोकप्रिय हैं. सो आई थिंक वी हैव अ problem. And the truth is that the inequality of income, Nilu, is hitting the people of this country hard. Mr. Modi doesn't care because the rich are funding the BJP. You can look at the money that the BJP has. It's the richest political party in India. देखिए, भारत के लोगों को पैसा मिला ना मिला, भाजपा बहुत अमीर हो चुकी है. अंबानी अदानी का वेल्थ देखिए कहां से कहां बढ़ गया.
BJP, Sanjay, the same BJP doesn't talk about Achhe Din at all. It seems that Achhe Din has become a burden shifting exercise altogether.
Yes, देखिए
They pass
अच्छे
on
दिन,
to the citizens.
आई एम टेलिंग यू, अच्छे दिन तो जैसे आई रिमेम्बर मनीष तिवारी माय फ्रेंड वंस सेड कि अब लोग यही कहते हैं कोई लौटा दे मेरे बीते हुए दिन. Because you see what has happened, Nilu, is this, right? That people today have to wake up and realize. And it's for the people to wake up and ask these questions. You and I can only put the data out, right? We are talking data that I challenge the government to come and contradict us on. Himmat hai to let them come and contradict that you guys use data that is not 100% true. Why don't we challenge anybody from the government to say you haven't grown at 5.5% over the last 7 years? Where is your doubling of farm income? Where is your 2 crore jobs? Where is your private investment? Why is Make in India a disaster when you said it will be 25% of GDP? Why did you give away 1,50,000 crores in a tax gain to the corporate sector in 2019, which is now over 10 lakh crores? Where are the jobs? Where is the private investment? Why is India the hottest country in the world? Why is India the most polluted country in the world? India amongst the most corrupt countries in the world? Why does India not have any press freedom? And by the way, when GST collections go up, they celebrate कि हमारा GST collection इतना बढ़ गया है. अरे GST का पैसा कौन दे रहा है आपको? I mean,
No, but
viewers of your...
you raised a very interesting point. You said that GST, you were talking about GST collection. Now, a citizen's duty is to pay GST in time. A citizen's duty is to pay income tax in time. Now, some new duties have been imposed by the Prime Minister that, look, don't buy gold, Now, are these the new duties which the citizens need to follow?
Well, think about it. आप ये सोच लीजिए नीलू जी कि if you take a bar of soap or a toothpaste, okay, उस पर जो भी GST है, you are paying the same amount. The viewer is paying the amount. A very poor person of India is paying the same amount. The farmer is paying the same amount, and Adani ji, Ambani ji, and the Tatas and the Mahindras are paying the same
They're
amount.
also paying
So
the same.
GST is the most regressive tax that only worsens inequality. And that is what Mr. Modi's government is doing. They are not able to raise direct taxes because they're too scared to tax the wealthy and the rich off people in this country. They do not intend to at all touch people who fund them. The big corporates, the high net worth individuals, unke saath to, I'm telling you, Modi's government is literally serenading them. It's like, their entourage, which is why the rich of this country love Narendra Modi's government. Chahe kuch bhi ho jaye, they will always sing the hosannas of Mr. Modi's government. That is the tragedy of our country. And the poor, they don't get a voice. The middle class, for reasons best known to the middle class, has become extremely tolerant of the excesses that Mr. Modi's government has committed on them. I mean, look at the life of the ordinary middle class person. They are living in an age where they have little jobs in terms of the kind of opportunities they should be having. The young are being, frankly, left to make Instagram reels,
Absolutely.
or as Mr. Modi famously said, आप पकोड़े बना लो. ऐसे हालात में, ऐसे माहौल में देश का जो परेशानी है, जो मुसीबतें हैं, वो और भी बढ़ेंगी, कम नहीं होगा. And if Mr. Modi believes that the idea of austerity is the way I can spin it as a major national responsibility, we are all part of one collective enterprise.
He's going abroad. He's going
He's
abroad.
going abroad, yes. He is going abroad. And why are his ministers not taking the metro? मैं तो कहता हूं कि जितने मिनिस्टर्स हैं इस सरकार में, आप मेट्रो लीजिए. अपना जो 20-20 गाड़ी लेके जो लाल बत्ती जाती है, आपको उसको बंद कीजिए आप. और आप
Do you
कहते
think
हैं कि
ministers
किसान
like Amit Shah, Sanjay, do you think ministers like Amit Shah will travel by metro?
Well, I'm not saying that Amit Shah has to travel by metro, but Amit Shah can travel with just one car accompanying him. वो तो नहीं होता है. I'm telling you that इंडिया में जो लाल बत्ती का जो कल्चर है, वो इनको चाहिए. लेकिन किसान ये फर्टिलाइजर ना यूज करे. अरे किसान फर्टिलाइजर नहीं यूज करेगा तो उसको उत्पादन कहां से आएगा? एंड बाय द वे नीरू, लेट मी टेल यू, ये नेचुरल फर्टिलाइजर का जो कहानी है, इस सरकार में इतने बेवकूफ लोग बैठे हुए हैं. They are not aware of what happened in Sri Lanka when Sri Lanka tried to experiment with a new fertilizer and created a rural and an agricultural crisis. I really feel this government is all about the headlines, and Mr. Modi wants to look good. He wants to look like that grand uncle who cares for everybody, but this is absolutely bizarre. This is a government which I'm critic of this government is it lies to you. It keeps you in the dark. I will never forget the lockdown when I come from Bihar, Nilu. I know the migrants from Bihar, how much they suffered. COVID, look at the official data. India had the highest number of COVID deaths. And this government actually tells you, no, that is not the. So listen, when you lie, even when it comes to human casualty or human deaths, then I believe you have touched the abysmal lows of
Absolutely.
political morality. What else can I say?
Sanjay, my last question, Sanjay, to you is that these appeals made by Prime Minister, are they not laced in deceit? Of course, there are many lies which you've spoken about, but this entire appeal making itself is so deceitful. When during the budget session, he says that we are going to face a COVID-like situation, and then he knew that a situation like this will come, did he not keep the country in dark? Now the instant reaction of people, I'm talking about common citizens, with the people I've been speaking to, they are panicking. They are in a panic mode. They are saying that should we stock up on oils? Should we stock up on grains? Should we stock up on things? This is the instant reaction. Now, where is the country headed to after this? So is this not a deceitful exercise that you knew all this was coming, but even then you did not inform? You didn't think of addressing the nation at that point of time and telling the people?
Well, let me tell you, fascist leaders love to create panic and fear. Fear is an instrument of control. Remember, when you're in panic, what happens? Who do you look up to? Where will the ordinary individual go? You have to look at the Sarkar for support. That's exactly what he's doing. Please remember that. Governments which are authoritarian love to create that degree of fear because then the control shifts in their hands. And then people stop talking about, hey, who's responsible for it? You are actually responsible for it. What were you doing for so long? Why are my strategic reserves in LPG just 2 days? Why did you not support Iran during the war? Why did you go to Israel and make that famous speech in parliament where you talked about fatherland and motherland? These are questions that then get dissipated, right? And Mr. Modi will tell himself that right now is a perfect time because people must be thinking, Modi ji to बहुत ही लोकप्रिय हैं, बहुत बेहतरीन काम कर रहे हैं. देखिए वो तो आसाम में जीत गए हैं, वो तो वेस्ट बंगाल में जीत गए हैं. तो मुद्दों की बात कोई करता नहीं. मुद्दों की बात क्या है? उत्पादन, पूंजी निवेश, विदेश नीति, आपका आपका शासन कैसे चल रहा है, पारदर्शिता, भ्रष्टाचार, इसके बारे में बातचीत होता नहीं है. सांप्रदायिक तापमान देखा है आपने देश में कैसा है? Have you seen the kind of hate in a country? All these things get obliterated because Mr. Modi has made a clarion call, an inspiring request from the leader. Please join me in this collective endeavor to survive this crisis. But Mr. Modi, you have to explain before that, why did this crisis happen? ये मुसीबत, ये परेशानी, ये तकलीफ, इसकी जिम्मेदारी किसकी है? And that is the question that the government is trying to dodge.
Right. And before I end, I just want to read a very interesting tweet by Supriya Srinate, and then we'll end the program. And Sanjay, you must also see this. I'm sure you must have seen it. She's written, patriotism is calling out, don't go on foreign trips. But I can't tolerate the heat. That's why I'll go on a foreign trip for a few days. Narendra Modi's Europe trip. Netherlands 15th to 17th May, Sweden 17th May, Norway 17th to 19th May, Italy 19th to 20th May. And then Supriya is asking towards the end, why are you committing treason by going abroad, Mr. Modi? This is the question which he has asked. I'm sure these appeals. Yes, Sanjay, you wanted to say something?
No. I wanted to add my own little tidbit to what Supriya Srinath has said. I'm reminded from Mr. Modi's austerity call of that famous one कि एक मरीज है जो डॉक्टर के पास जाता है कि डॉक्टर साहब मेरा मिजाज थोड़ा ठीक नहीं है, मेरी बहुत परेशानी है, बहुत मुसीबत है, आप कुछ कीजिए, मुझे कोई दवाई दीजिए ताकि मेरी परेशानी और मेरी दर्द और जो भी मेरा जो तापमान है वो कम हो जाए. तो डॉक्टर कहता है आप बिल्कुल चिंता मत करो, सब चंगा सी, मैं आपको ऐसा दवाई देता हूं कि आप सांस लेना ही बंद कर दीजिएगा. You see, this is the whole story. I'm telling you, yeah. This is Mr. Modi's prescription to the people of India. I'm telling you, that's the way the great leader is thinking.
Right. I'm sure people will be laughing and smiling their hearts out in the days to come. But don't forget the crisis, which is very, very serious, for which Modi government doesn't have answers. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for joining. And as usual, a pleasure talking to you always. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you.